Y'all are kind. So my name is Leah Whitehurst-Gibson. I'm the Executive Director of Virginia Community Voice, and was happy to be a part of this project with Ebony. So I'm going to read you an excerpt from my essay. We need a radical imagination for something new. An equitable Richmond requires something much deeper than policy change, diversity and inclusion efforts, racial equity training, or even targeted grant making to BIPOC-led organizations. All of these things are important, but they are intellectual approaches that don't heal the racialized trauma that people of color and white people carry around in their bodies. They don't offer us a process through which BIPOC are trusted to radically reimagine our communities. A word about power shifting. I understand power to be the ability to help or to hurt. Communities have been historically marginalized. Communities who have been historically marginalized typically do not have the power in the institutional sense. A story might help illustrate what I mean. Last year, my husband and I tried to refinance our house. When we got to the bank, the loan officer took one look at us, asked what we were there for, and said, well, there's a $500 appraisal fee. Do you have the money out of pocket to do that? We did, of course, but we didn't get the loan. Later, we inquired as to why, and the bank said there were problems with our credit. Both my husband and I have credit scores well over 720, the minimum to get the most favorable rate, according to the bank, and very little debt. We asked specifically about what was problematic about our credit, and they told us it was unclear, but it was not unclear to us. Credit scores and so many things about access to wealth in this country were built to keep me, my family, and people who look like us out of the wealth building process. And when we ask why, the answer is typically, well, it's something you did wrong. It is always framed as a personal problem, which obscures the truth that our legal, financial systems are not built for Black people. In fact, they are built intentionally to keep us out. My husband and I walked away from that experience feeling dejected, angry, and powerless to change anything about that interaction. That loan officer, the system she is a part of, and the algorithms that were used to determine whether or not we could get that loan all had the ability to help or hurt us. And both historically and in 2021, they chose to hurt us. The system used past knowledge of what investments are safe and what is risky, and they determined that we were not safe. That is what power does to maintain itself. People with power can make judgments about who they perceive to be safe or unsafe and build policies and practice around those judgments. It is hard to see this power sometimes, especially when it works for you, not against you. That's why power shifting is needed. A shift in power puts the ability to change unjust systems in the hands of the people who can see injustice clearly. If we are committed to racial equity, this is a path to real change. Until people who are directly impacted are the ones designing the solutions to the issues they have themselves identified, we won't close the gaps in outcomes for all of our communities. If we build a more just and equitable decision-making process, it will be good for people of color, yes, but it will also be good for everyone else too. Right now, paternalism in nonprofits says white and wealthy people with academic credentials know better than disadvantaged communities they serve. Until this assumption changes, we will not have equity. People of color having a seat at the table is the bare minimum. Equity demands more than this. People of color and other historically marginalized groups need to be building the table. Thank you.